Hey guys, welcome back to another Vanguard video, and Bushiroad really did it. You saw the title. They power creeped Alden, so here is Perfect Surgery Azeruel, and then after this we'll get to the brand new Rideline. So auto when this unit is placed on rearguard circle during any phase other than battle phase, just to stop multi-attack, just in case, just like Keter Cat. Then counterblast, soul blast 1, choose up to 1 grade 3 from your hand, call to rearguard circle. If you do, draw 2 cards. So this place is basically the same as Alden. I guess Alden says on placed any other time, but you get the point. It's basically Alden's skill. And then continues rearguard circle, guardian circle. If your Vanguard is grade 3 higher and has Bastion or Alden in its card name, this unit gets intercept and plus 5k power and plus 5k shield active during the opponent's turn as well. So while this is good support for Alden, I do think Alden still kind of wants Caterpillar just a little bit for consistency to get Circon off for sure. I mean, you are making a full board every turn, but Bastion's already playing enough zero shields because you also have the promo, which is a backrow restander as well. So I'm not sure about this. I mean, at least, if your Vanguard's grade 3 or higher, it does get the shield, but it doesn't get it beforehand, which, usually is the problem with these kind of decks. But yeah, honestly, this card is literally just power creeped, grade 3 rearguard Alden for Bastion. It doesn't get the 5k twice because the original Alden on attack is 5 every time. So when it would attack more than that, it's going to stack that power very fast, including the plus 5 from Accord as well to your front row grade 3s. But, besides that, they literally power crept Alden. There's nothing else to say about that. I mean, at least this is Alden support. Like, I'll take that too. Using counterblast at Assault is a little bit costly though, because unless you have, I believe it's Edgewear or whatever the grade 1 booster is for Alden, that's a 15k booster, you're not getting that soul back after you soul blast, because your Rideline uses soul and you have the soul blast for divine skill and other things. So you actually run out of soul pretty fast if you're playing Caterpillar and Alden, if you've actually tried the build before. So it gets a little bit awkward. But, this is a pretty big upgrade for Bastion, I would say. You can run 8 Aldens now. That's not bad at all. And, this getting shield and power and being able to intercept during your opponent's turn is also very, very nice. So, he'll be, I guess, only 23 compared to, like, Grander Edge being 28. But, I mean, still very decent. And then, like, you also have... Is she wielding, like, scissors? Like, I can't really tell what this art... No, it's more like a... what's it called? A scalpel. Okay, that's what it was. I thought I'm like tripping over scissors now because of like the new Verena. But anyways, really good card all around. I don't really think there's much else to say about this. Like, getting the shield and power is nice. Again, it's not active before your grade 3, which really sucks. But, I guess you're still holding your hand and getting your ass beat. But like, you have this new card, which we'll look at right now. So we have Heavenly Staff, Magician, Balance. So this is a grade 2. 5k 10, your usual standard stats, but in his hand and on rearguard circle and trigger zone, he is a continuous. If your Vanguard is a grade 3 or greater and has Bastion, it gets boost and grade +1. So he counts as grade 3, including for your drive checks as well. So you can proc, like Prime and Accord's effects and whatnot. Well, I guess for Accord, it doesn't really matter because you're just using a Bastion and the double drive anyways. But, anytime you need to drive check a grade 3, basically. And then auto, when he's placed on rearguard circle, you can choose 1 grade 3 Bastion from your ride deck, reveal it if you revealed it, or if your Vanguard's grade 3 or higher with Bastion. So this works when you're on Prime, which is very nice. You may pay the cost, counterblast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 grade 3 or higher card that does not have Regulus piece, reveal it, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. If you don't add it, countercharge 1, so you can add... Well, actually, no, you can't add the ace unit because it's not a grade 3. But, you can add literally anything except for a Regulus piece, which is really, really good. You can also add form up off this because it says grade 3 or a higher card, not a unit card specifically, which is also very nice. And if you do not, you also get the countercharge 1. Just want to add that text as well. So I feel like this card is honestly a bigger upgrade than Perfect Surgery. I mean, 8 Aldens is really nice in terms of consistency. Like, that just cannot be beat. As soon as you're riding to grade 3, your hand is always going to get filled. Is it going to get filled with PGs? I don't know. It could still be 0 shields is the thing. But yeah, I wasn't expecting Bastion to get an effect like Blast Mist that like gives all their rears in hand that are 0 shields, like +5 or +10 or something like that. But I mean, I think this is definitely the bigger upgrade. You can grab your Accords, you can grab your Primes for next turn, you can grab Form Up, you can grab whatever you need from the top 5. Just kind of hate that this is Counterblast because, Alden and Perfect Surgery, which we just looked at, is also Counterblast. So, Bastion is still really heavily Counterblast, but you're probably getting your face shoved in early anyways. I'm not too sure if you can really fit dogs into Alden before. I think people were trying that with Tranquilla. I'm not really sure how this works here. You're probably playing Rooks and the Fort and the other, usual OG Bastion Rideline, because Bastion never got a new Rideline. The problem with Tranquilla is like, yes, you can just whiff, you lose a soul, but you call them out. So, you know, I'm not sure what, you know, Rideline Bastion players are playing right now, to be honest. I think Tranquilla Rook is probably fine, but you can probably just play the OG as well, just to, you know, call top, see how it is, and, you know, you're just pray for RNG. But yeah, honestly, this card's really good. It is 5k shield early because it is a grade 2, you know, I mean, well, technically it's a grade 3, it's a continuous in hand, but, you know, yeah, but, you know, as soon as you get to grade 3, he'll be active as a grade 3 everywhere, basically, except for in drop, which I guess is a little bit weird. It's only Vanguard Circle hand and triggers, so I think it's a little bit different from Owl, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, honestly, check top 5 for anything is honestly really good in your deck. Basically, any of your grade 3 or higher. So, and then the key target's probably going to be form up. You can grab the guard restrict. Anything else, you need to build your board. Not Dark Strain, the new Festival grade 3. I don't think we have an English name for him yet, but the one that gains boost if you have 4 more damage, so that's really nice. It can also give power to other rears, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And then, you know, grabbing Prime, Accord, form up, anything basically you need. So yeah, I don't know how I somehow yapped for 6 minutes about Bastion cards, but yeah, here we are. Alright, so the last card I want to talk about is One Light Knight Ermingal, and I swear they printed this just to give more counterplay to Estacion. So active Vanguard Circle once per turn. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher with Bastion in its card name, you cost energy boss 3. During this turn, when this unit attacks all units in the same column. At the end of the turn, retire this unit. So I'm assuming the wording on this is attacks and not when this unit would attack. Or like, you know, it's supposed to proc on attack, so I assume when you attack Vanguard, this would proc and hit in the same column. So he kills himself, but he swings a whole column. So, you know, PTSD for people who hated Leonard back in the days. But, you know, he's back in Bastion, I guess. He's just, like, killing a whole column for no reason. This can attack into Blast Token if you attack the Vanguard. Because, you know, it's attacking it. It's, you know, not an effect. This is pretty much just for, like, but Estacion is the biggest thing I can think of. I mean, it's really annoying to kill an entire column. I think that's really good. The thing is, if you have this thing in the front row, you don't have the new card, the new angel, that, you know, is getting shield and power, and you don't have Grander Edge in the front row, who's like a massive beater. So, like, that feels pretty bad, but really you're not using your energy on anything else unless you're playing, like, Biscotti or the Festival grade 3, the Festival 2025 grade 3, so honestly, it's fine. I don't think this support is exactly what Bastion needed. It does make Bastion a lot more consistent, which I think is what the deck needed, but I don't think it really solves the weaknesses of the deck. So, you know, Bastion fans, tell me how you feel. I think this is a pretty good upgrade for the deck, in my opinion. I don't know if it makes it. I still think it needs a new Rideline or something. Like you look at Bab's overtuned Rideline, and then you look at like Bastion's year 1 Rideline that like hasn't changed at all. I guess you could say the same for like Prison and a few other things, but yeah, you know, those decks have gotten much better rear support that hatched up a lot of problems with the deck, or at least most of them. With Bastion, it's kind of like you're still very CB reliant. Your energy is like, at least you can go to this card, but you could also be spending it to draw or using on Biscotti to keep your hand healthy early while guarding. So I think Bastion is still in a weird spot. But anyways, I'm gonna stop yapping about Bastion and get to the brand new Rideline. Alright, so we have the starter Venatior, however you say this, Rakora. And it has wrote upon when you went second, draw 1, the usual stuff, you know. Alright, then we have the grade 1 Venatior. I feel like Venatior is how I would say it. Anyways, Venatior Bunyip. When it's wrote upon by Venatior Mazarius, so the grade 2, you reveal the top card of your deck, call it to Vanguard Circle. If it is a grade 3 lost card, discard it if it is not. Discard it, Soul Charge 2, act and drop if you're grade 3 or greater with Venatior. In its card name, you have no rears with the same name as this card. Cost counterblast 1, call this card to Vanguard Circle, gets +5 until end of turn. I mean, your Rideline revives itself, that's really good. Is that a CB every turn? Yes. Spoiler, Van's skill does not use any CB, which is like crazy. So that's nice. You basically have Combine Rusher built into your Rideline, which is really, really good. And then you have the grade 2 Mazaris. So when it's wrote upon by grade 3 with Venatior, you can choose a Venatior, Bunyip from your soul, call that card, and this card to Vanguard Circle, so you +2 in rears essentially. And then when it attacks, if you're grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Venatior's card name, it gets +5k until end of battle. Alright, so now we have the grade 3. There's also a triple rare support after this. So the grade 3 Vanguard does not use any counterblast at all or energy, which is a very good sign because you can shove every generic possible into this deck, including Latifah and whatnot. So active Vanguard Circle, once per turn, you cost Soul Blast 1, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, you choose up to 1 grade 2 or less unit from among them, call to Vanguard Circle, and shuffle your deck. So Soul Boss 1, fill up your board, pretty good. Between this and the grade 1, you know, from the Rideline, you're getting 2 rears per turn because it's important for his cost, which eats his own rears, so dinos basically. I don't know how we got to this. Okay, this guy I know isn't a dino. I'm pretty sure he's a human. I have to check Kairos to see what the translation for his attribute is. But, you know, you get the point. We basically just got like 2 dinos revealed. Like one in Koro, and then we got this in the main set. When it attacks, you retire 2 to 5 of your rear guards, so you get to choose the amount, and perform the following based on the number of rears retired for cost. So if you retire 2 more, it gets +5 until end of battle for each unit retired for this cost. So max it's getting is 25, so going to 38, pretty nice number. And then 3 or more, this unit gets drive +1 until end of battle, so not triple drive, but drive +1, so 3 drives. And then 4 or more, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater until end of battle, when your opponent will call cards from hand to Guardian Circle, they must call 3 or more at the same time. So Flagberg. That I don't know, like, you know, at least this is more interesting than the, no offense, than the Dino Redline that got revealed for Koro. I didn't make a video on that because I was just like busy that week and completely forgot about it. But I mean, you know, at least this is like, this isn't really anything new to Dragon Empire is the thing. It's just really nice that this, you can't really get CB denied. There's nothing super awkward. Your CB is basically going to this brand new rear that we'll look at in a second. I mean, yeah, so like on Persona turns, you'll be at like what, 48, you know, pretty decent numbers with 3 drives. And then like triple battle door is like pretty like just oppressive. Like you have to take it unless you throw like Sanct or a giant blitz to like get around the guard restrict. And also it doesn't work when they go first, which is really nice to kind of balance it in quotations. But I mean, really, you don't need to have guard restrict when you're hitting that big of numbers with 3 drives while your opponent's still in grade 2. So, you know, I'll give the credit that at least this feels somewhat new. You can, I think, use some of the old cards, like Shura. I believe Shura isn't Vargo name locked. I do have to double check that. But, you know, at least this is, you know, something kind of new. And, you know, not using any CB energy looks kind of crazy for the cost. Like, really all you're using is Soul. All the CB is going to the grade 1 to come back and whatever other cards you decide to play to fill up your board. And I mean, you know, I'll give the credit to Bushy that, you know, as a main set triple, this is at least more interesting than like the free Dino deck they're like just throwing out there to exist. So, you know, I don't think there's much else to say about this. You know, you're deck dating every turn off the first skill, and then, you know, drive +1, giant number, 3 cards to guard from hand. It's just Flagberg in disguise, but in Dragon Empire. Like, I don't know what else to say about this. I mean, Flagberg didn't get a lot of the stuff that this guy has immediately, and Flagberg is like a CB, and he was like, you know, Peace Reliant. He was like the thing back in the day. But, you know, now there's just this. They just like took Flagberg. They're like, all right, how do we combine Flagberg and Dinos? Boom. There you go. New grade 3 unit. That's just how it is. Alright, so now we have the triple support rear, Spruce Cutter Dragon. So continuous rearguard circle. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater and you do not have any other rearguards, this unit cannot be chosen or retired by your opponent's card effects. And then auto rearguard circle, when it attacks your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Venatior, it gets +5 until end of battle. Then the last auto is when it's retired by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If you have no rearguards with the same unit, same name as this unit, you cost counterblast 1, call this card to rearguard circle. If you have Vanguard with Venatior, it gets +5k until end of turn for each of your open rearguard circles. So technically in quotations, this does work with Varga, and it does technically work with Sibylt, but are you really gonna play this? Like, the thing is, that's not what those decks needed. But I mean, for Venatior, this is a really good rear. Like, you're getting a lot of just free +5 for like no reason that like isn't tied to your opponent's Vanguard grade. Like, retired by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, alright, sick. That it just works out. But yeah, okay, so basically you have 2 combine rushers, essentially. Well, okay, this isn't really a combine rusher because it's not really working from drop. But you know, you get what I mean. It's a reoccurring card. So this card will always be on your board. The grade 1 will always come back. Then you have advanced skill. So right off the bat, it already looks more playable than other Dragon Empire Ridelines that they just like throw in. And I hope this will be more of like a budget deck. You know, until we look at like all the Dragon Empire generics, you would need to get like Shenri and one. Actually, you don't really want to play Shenri because you can't really retire it. But anyways, yeah, this card is really good. The first skill is basically just for like, I don't know, matchups, so he stays on the board next turn. They just didn't want to. I mean, he does have resist because cannot be chosen. So they basically made it so that he sticks around next turn unless you intercept with him, and then, you know, the rest of the skill is just +5/+5. Your CB will go to this. And I believe the grade 1, let me double check the grade 1 in the Rideline. I'm pretty sure the grade 1 in the Rideline says, yeah, it's act and drop. Okay, so they did make sure that you can't activate this during battle phase. So yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about Spruce Cutter Dragon either, honestly. I think it's really good support Venatior. For Venatior, it's probably Venatior. I don't know. This name is like just out there. But yeah, this card is amazing for that deck. It's Sybil, in Sybil of Varga, it's technically multi-attack. Anything that retires, like technically, are you ever gonna play this? No, it's a 10k vanilla. You have like other things you could be playing for cycle and whatnot. But yeah, it's interesting that they worded this card for all of these skills that matter for those decks, that it would technically work with them, like it's usable. It's just it would get no power. So, okay, yeah, never mind. Okay, Spinal Marcus is a Dino Rare, so this doesn't work. But like, it's just interesting that they're future-proofing this to essentially be a Dragon Empire generic to work with anything, but really it's only good in Venatior for what we see for now. But so yeah, that is basically the reveals that we got today. Honestly, for a Thursday stream, it's not bad. Also, next Thursday is Kyoya Gain and Dragon Ein. That like better be insane. I know a lot of people are hyped for that. I'm also hyped for that. So we'll definitely hope to see how good that is. But yeah, Spruce Cutter Dragon, Venatior honestly looks pretty playable out of the box. I don't think it'll be insane, but like triple Battle Door 3 Dries is pretty annoying. Like I think it's a really good beginner deck. I think Bastion got really good consistency, upgraded support. Doesn't really help patch up the weaknesses of the deck. The deck doesn't really change. But I mean, it's a little bit more consistent. The thing is, like, because the new grade 2 is a CB, you have Owl to CC, and you could play Caliber and other things. It's just that, like, I kind of wish one of them used, like, alternative costs, but, they're really trying to lock Bastion as being CB heavy. Because otherwise, I guess you get too many effects. But I mean, Bastion's win con is like basically form up plus a core drive check and like just pray. If you went first, you're just farming hand for the next turn to hopefully kill on it when you do like 4 drive checks, maybe 5 if you had another form up as well. But yeah, at least this gets form up. It is a consistency booster. I think Bastion is probably the winner from this review, but it's hard to tell when you just randomly added like a brand new Dragon Empire Rideline just like that. But yeah, do let me know what you think of the reveals. I'm looking at the record. Oh my gosh, it's 18 minutes. Okay. Well, let me just stop talking there. Let me know what you think of the reveals and the new Dragon Empire Rideline and if you're building it. And I'll see you another time.